Okay, let's dive into this. We're going to talk about a story that, honestly, it raises a really tough question. How can two friends from the exact same background end up on completely different paths after just one run-in with the law? We're about to see how the very system that's supposed to help can sometimes be the thing that tears lives apart.
So, yeah, this is a tale of two friends, for sure. But it's also a look into how one justice system can kind of act like two separate systems. And it all seems to depend on who you are.
All right, so let's meet Marcus and Keisha. These two were inseparable. I mean, they grew up in the same neighborhood, faced all the same pressures, ran with the exact same crowd. You look at them on paper, and their lives look pretty much identical. And, well, like a lot of kids in their situation, they both eventually had a run-in with the authorities. But this is the moment where their shared story just stops. Their paths split in a way that is just shocking, really. Okay, get this. Look at the difference here. Marcus gets caught trespassing, and he's given community service, a chance to make it right. Keisha, on the other hand, skips school and gets into it with a teacher. Her consequence? She gets hauled into juvenile court and put on probation. It doesn't add up, right? And that brings us to the big question here. Even her friend Marcus couldn't figure it out. Why was her punishment so much more severe? Especially when, let's be honest, his offense seems like a bigger deal. Well, the answer isn't really about what they did. It's about how the system saw them. It all comes down to this idea of a gendered lens, which completely twisted how Keisha's actions were perceived. And this isn't just some random theory. Scholars like Mita Chesney-Lind have been pointing this out for years. Her work makes it clear the whole juvenile justice system was basically built with boys in mind. So when girls don't fit into that box, the system, well, it often gets things really wrong. Now, to really get what happened to Keisha, you have to understand this legal term, status offense. Think about it. An adult can't get arrested for skipping a day of work, right? But a kid can get dragged into court for skipping school. Keisha's crime was only a crime because of her age, and that little technicality was the hook the system used to pull her in. So for girls, certain behaviors get a totally different label. Things that might be brushed off as a boy just acting out, like resisting authority or being too independent or refusing to act all ladylike, suddenly aren't seen as normal teenage rebellion. Through that gendered lens, those things start to look like signs of delinquency. So the system did what it's programmed to do. It reacted. It processed her. It judged her. It punished her. But through that whole mechanical process, it completely failed to ask the one simple question that mattered most. Why? And here's the heartbreaker. The reason she was acting out, the why behind it all, was because she was dealing with some really serious trauma at home. Her behavior wasn't delinquency. It was a cry for help, a cry the system was completely deaf to. So let's just break this down. You see the cycle here, right? It starts with a system that's built for boys. Then it slaps these gendered judgments onto girls who don't fit the mold. And the result? They get hit with way harsher punishments, all while the real issues, the root causes like trauma, get completely ignored. At the end of the day, what really mattered here wasn't just what Marcus and Keisha did. It was how their gender completely shaped the perception of what they did. Their actions got filtered through these unspoken expectations, and Keisha was judged not for a crime, but for breaking the unwritten rules of how a girl is supposed to behave. Keisha's story shows us a huge, massive blind spot in our justice system. And it leaves us with a really critical question. If the system is this blind to gender, what else is it not seeing? What other biases are out there, quietly shaping the futures of young people every single day?